In the heart of the rugged mountains, where the air was crisp and the snow blanketed the ground like a soft white quilt, lived a community of Pika. These little creatures, with their round bodies and large ears, were known for their adorable appearance and their remarkable resilience. As winter approached, the Pika prepared for the harsh months ahead, each with their own strategy for survival. Among them was Lila, a diligent Pika who embodied the spirit of hard work. She spent her days scurrying through the rocky terrain, collecting dried grasses and wildflowers, which she meticulously stored in her cozy burrow. Lila was well aware of the challenges that winter would bring. The snow would cover the ground, making food scarce, and she wanted to be ready. With each tuft of dried grass she gathered, she felt a sense of accomplishment. The sun was low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the mountains, and Lila took a moment to appreciate the beauty of her surroundings. The world was quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the soft crunch of snow underfoot. Not too far from Lila lived a different kind of Pika, one who preferred to take a more leisurely approach to life. His name was Finn, and he was known for his cunning ways. While Lila toiled away, Finn lounged on a warm rock, watching the other Pika scurry about. He had a knack for spotting the hard-working ones, and often found himself chuckling at their relentless efforts. "Why work so hard when you can let others do the heavy lifting?" he would say to himself, a sly grin spreading across his face. Finn had devised a plan. He knew that Lila and her friends would be busy gathering food, and he intended to take advantage of their labor. He would wait until they had amassed a significant amount of supplies, and then, when the time was right, he would swoop in and claim a portion for himself. It was a risky game, but Finn thrived on the thrill of it. He spent his days observing, studying the patterns of his neighbors, and plotting his next move. As the days turned into weeks, the first snowflakes began to fall, gently covering the landscape in a pristine layer of white. Lila's burrow was now filled to the brim with her carefully collected stash. She felt a sense of pride as she surveyed her work, knowing that she had prepared well for the winter ahead. As she nestled into her cozy home, she thought about the other Pika and their varying approaches to survival. Some, like her, were diligent and responsible, while others, like Finn, seemed to rely on the efforts of those around them. One crisp morning, Lila ventured out to gather a few last bits of food before the heavy snow set in. She noticed Finn lounging on his rock, a mischievous glint in his eye. "What are you up to, Finn?" she called out, trying to sound cheerful despite her growing suspicion. Finn stretched lazily, a smirk dancing on his lips. "Just enjoying the sunshine, Lila. You should try it sometime instead of working so hard." Lila rolled her eyes, but couldn't help but smile. "Someone has to prepare for winter, Finn. You can't just sit around all day." Finn shrugged, his gaze drifting back to the mountain peaks. "Maybe you're right, but I prefer to wait for the right moment. Why rush when you can have a little fun?" As the days passed, the snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in silence. Lila remained busy, checking her supplies and ensuring everything was in order. Finn, on the other hand, seemed to grow more restless. He watched as Lila and the others fortified their homes, their burrows becoming little fortresses against the cold. The more he observed, the more he realized that the Pika community was a well-oiled machine, each member playing a crucial role in their survival. Then, one fateful day, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the snow-covered landscape. It was a rare moment, and Lila decided to take a break from her chores. She ventured outside, basking in the sunlight and enjoying the crisp air. In that moment of tranquility, she noticed Finn eyeing her stash of food, which was now piled high outside her burrow. Finn's mind raced with possibilities. The moment had come. Lila had worked hard, and now, with her moment of relaxation, he could make his move. He approached her with a casual demeanor, pretending to be interested in the beauty of the day. "What a lovely day, isn't it, Lila? It must be nice to have all this food ready for winter." Lila nodded, a hint of pride in her voice. "It is. I've worked hard to gather enough for the season. I feel prepared." Finn feigned admiration, his heart racing with excitement. "You really are the industrious type. I wish I had your dedication. But you know, Lila, sharing is caring. Wouldn't it be better if we all enjoyed the bounty together?" Lila, caught off guard by Finn's sudden friendliness, considered his words. Well, I suppose sharing is nice, but I worked for this food. I can't just give it away. Finn's eyes sparkled with mischief as he leaned in closer. Oh, but think of it this way. If you share some with me now, I can help you gather even more later. We could be a great team. Lila hesitated, unsure of Finn's intentions. She had always been wary of his sly nature, but the idea of having a partner to help her gather more food was tempting. Maybe, but I need to be careful. I don't want to end up with nothing. Finn's grin widened. Of course, of course. Just a little taste then. A small token of friendship. He gestured toward her pile of food, his voice smooth as honey. Lila, feeling the warmth of the sun and the allure of camaraderie, finally relented. All right, just a small portion. As Lila began to share her carefully collected food, Finn's heart raced with triumph. He watched as she offered him the best bits, her trust in him growing with each piece. To Finn, this was not just a meal, it was a victory. He could already envision the cozy winter ahead, filled with warmth and plenty, all thanks to Lila's hard work. But as the days turned into weeks, Lila began to notice something unsettling. Finn's visits became more frequent, and he seemed less interested in helping her gather food and more focused on consuming what she had worked so hard to collect. Each time she offered him a little more, he accepted it with a charming smile. But the weight of her supplies began to dwindle. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a fiery glow across the snow, Lila sat in her burrow, her heart heavy with realization. She had been too trusting, too eager to believe in Finn's promises of partnership. The food she had so carefully gathered was all but gone, and Finn's visits had become more like a demanding presence, rather than the friendly companionship she had hoped for. Determined not to fall victim to Finn's cunning ways any longer, Lila devised a plan. She would not confront him directly, but instead, she would outsmart him. She began to gather food in secret, stashing it away in hidden corners of her burrow, where Finn would never think to look. Each time he came to visit, she would feign generosity, offering him small portions while keeping the bulk of her supplies safe. Finn, oblivious to Lila's newfound strategy, continued to indulge in her kindness, his confidence growing with each visit. He believed he had successfully manipulated her into sharing her resources, and he relished in the thought of a winter filled with ease. Little did he know, Lila was one step ahead. As winter deepened, the snow piled high, and the world outside became a frozen wonderland. Lila's hidden stash grew, and with it, her sense of empowerment. She no longer felt the weight of fear or doubt. Instead, she embraced her strength and resilience, knowing that she could thrive even in the harshest of conditions. One day, as the wind howled outside, Lila decided it was time to confront Finn. She invited him over, her heart pounding with anticipation. When he arrived, she greeted him with a smile. But beneath her cheerful facade lay a determination that would not be easily swayed. Finn, she began, her voice steady. I've been thinking about our arrangement. I realize now that I've been too generous with my food. Finn raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. What do you mean, Lila? I thought we were friends. We are friends, but friendship goes both ways. I've shared my food with you, and I've noticed you haven't contributed much in return. It's time for a change. Finn's expression shifted, the charm fading as he sensed the shift in power. But I thought you enjoyed sharing, he countered, his voice losing its playful lilt. I did, but I also need to look out for myself. Winter is long, and I can't afford to be left without food. Lila stood her ground, her heart racing, but her resolve unwavering. Finn's eyes narrowed, and for the first time, Lila saw a flicker of uncertainty in his gaze. You think you can just cut me off? He challenged. But Lila could sense the desperation beneath his bravado. I'm not cutting you off, Finn. I'm simply asking for fairness. If you want to be a part of my winter, then you need to contribute too. The silence that followed was thick with tension. Finn's mind raced, calculating his next move. He had underestimated Lila, and now he was faced with a choice: continue his manipulative ways or adapt to this new dynamic. In that moment, Finn realized that his charm alone would not win him the winter he desired. He took a deep breath, his demeanor shifting as he considered Lila's proposal. "All right, Lila. I'll help you gather food. I see now that you're not just a source of supplies. You're a partner." Lila studied him carefully, unsure if she could trust his change of heart. But she sensed a sincerity in his voice, a glimmer of understanding that hadn't been there before. As the days turned into weeks, Finn began to help Lila gather food. Together, they worked side by side, collecting dried grasses and wildflowers, each contributing to their shared survival. Finn learned the value of hard work, and Lila discovered that sometimes, even the most cunning of creatures could change. The winter stretched on, but now it was filled with laughter and camaraderie, a bond forged through mutual respect. Lila's heart swelled with pride as she watched their partnership flourish. They became a team, each bringing their strengths to the table. Finn's cleverness complemented Lila's diligence, and together they navigated the challenges of winter with grace. The once lazy Pika had transformed into a reliable companion, and Lila found joy in their newfound friendship. As the snow began to melt and the first signs of spring emerged, Lila reflected on the journey they had taken. What had started as a tale of manipulation had blossomed into a story of growth and understanding. Finn had learned the importance of hard work, and Lila had discovered the power of forgiveness and collaboration. In the end, the mountains echoed with the laughter of two Pika, united in their efforts to thrive against the odds. They had learned that while the winter may be long and harsh, it was the bonds forged between them that would carry them through, reminding them that even the most unlikely friendships could bloom in the unlikeliest of places.